Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of ISHRE, I welcome you all for today's curtain raiser event of Refcold India 2021. It's an honor and pleasure to have all you lovely people here, all you lovely guests here. May I request all of you to please rise for the National Anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
It's such an amazing feeling when all of us sing National Anthem together, and it gives us that feeling of oneness, and that is what ISHRE is all about. You go right from north to south, east to west, you have ISHREites at all different nooks and corners. And today, on behalf of 30,000 ISHREites, I'm welcoming all of you. So to start today's event, we have none other than our National President, Mr. Amitabh Basur. I would please request Mr. Amitabh Basur to kindly come on the dais and say a few words. Ravi, can I have his introduction, please? Yes. He's a mechanical engineer, MBA Marketing and Finance. By profession, he's a director operations company Aircon India. He has 33 years of experience in HVAC&R and allied products, specializes in industrial ventilation and fume extraction systems and management of large MEP projects. He has held various positions in ISHRE, National President-elect, National Secretary, National Treasurer, Vice Presidents, and Regional Director. And now, with a loud thunder of applause, may I please welcome on dais Mr. Amitabh Basur, our National President, ISHRE. Amitabh da, over to you.
Thank you, Mihir. Thank you for that introduction. And namaskar, everybody. Good evening. And welcome you all to the curtain raiser of the 4th edition of Refcold. Well, even few years back, there used to be a say in ISHRE that the R of ISHRE is very neglected. And it's true that for long we didn't acknowledge our responsibility towards this industry and laid our primary focus in air conditioning. But once we realized, we started changing. And today, I can say with a lot of conviction that at ISHRE, we are very focused in serving back the industry, the refrigeration and cold chain industry. So we conduct various programs on refrigeration throughout the year in all our 44 chapters. Last year on the World Refrigeration Day, we conducted concurrent 27 programs in 27 locations. This year, we celebrated the World Refrigeration Day with a 10-day long series of seminars in association with the WRD committee. So we not only do programs, but also conduct workshops, write publications on refrigeration, develop various technical contents to engage with this industry and, go down and connect with the grassroots of this industry. Now, earlier, we used to have cold chain pavilion in our flagship event Apex. But then we decided that we have to make it bigger. We have to make it stronger. We have to, contribute back to the industry, because this is one industry which, I think it's a kind of a social responsibility for us. So we decided to have an exclusive exposition for the refrigeration and cold chain industry, and thus Refcold was born. 4 years back, we had our first edition of Refcold in Ahmedabad, which was a pumping success and was, we were pleasantly surprised to get, to see the response that we received from the industry. So we understood that, yes, this was awaited, and we have stepped into the right arena. And therefore, Hyderabad, the next show, came up with a bigger and even a better show. And thereafter, of course, last year, we could not do a physical show because of the global pandemic and the restrictions around. We had a digital virtual event. This year also, in fact, we were planning for a physical show. We were all very upbeat. We thought that, yes, we will be having a physical show and coming back to, the normal, from the new normal. But yes, again, the restrictions of COVID and, the dilemma of whether we can have a physical show or not, we decided to go ahead with a virtual show because the show must go on. We didn't want to stop the show. And, for me, this is particularly a very special edition. Simply because this year it's been organized exclusively by us, by our own dear Thane chapter, who displayed the courage to take this challenge in a very, very short time. And, excellently supported by Mumbai, Pune, and other chapters. And I'm really privileged to say that once again, we have received excellent support from the industry. I must thank you all for that. The response that we received from you whenever we have, come to you for any support was excellent, absolutely. This year, our focus is on optimizing cold chain logistics in food and pharma sectors. Yes, we have touched upon the pharma sector because, post-COVID, we have understood the importance of, refrigeration in healthcare and pharma. And therefore, we want to lay our focus on that. So the whole show is evolved around that. This evening, we shall be having a panel discussion on creation of temperature-controlled ecosystem in food safety. Tomorrow, we shall be having the exhibition focused on the same theme, which is well participated. You will be seeing, the biggest names of the industry participating in the exhibition. And also side by side, we will be having a technical conference, which will be, where we will be having speakers across the globe. We will be having speakers of national and international repute who shall be delivering their papers on the subject relevant to the theme of this conference. Now, I'm sure this will be very enriching experience for all of us. And we could, we would be able to bring to you kind of some value, by doing this conference and this show. And of course, I think there will be some big takeaway from this. And this would not have been possible without the support that we have received from the partners, the exhibitors, and also from our associate societies in home and abroad. So thank you all for supporting us. Thank you all for being with us in our journey towards the sustainability in, cold chain and refrigeration industry. Look forward to your support in future also. I can tell you that ISHRE will play its bit in, giving back to the industry in this sector, and we will become stronger and stronger in the refrigeration sector also in going forward. We will be building this brand even stronger, and we wish to kind of build Refcold to a very, very big show in future. And look forward to having a physical show next year. Look forward to seeing you all there also and receiving your support. Till then, enjoy this show, to this evening's panel discussion, tomorrow's exhibition, and the technical conference. Until then, let's all meet there tomorrow and today. And namaskar to all of you.
Thank you, Amitabh. Thank you so much for those reassuring words and starting, Refcold on a positive note. And I always remember our presidential member, Mr. Nirmal Ram, always used to say that R is the sleeping giant in Ishre, and finally that giant has woken up. And now, देखो आगे आगे चल के क्या गुल खिलाता है ये giant. So I'm very sure about it. We are going to have amazing event for next 2 days and starting from today. So thank you so much, Amitabh. Let me now call next on stage the Iron Lady of Ishre, the strength behind this time's Refcold 2021, none other than Ms. Nivedita Jadhav. Ms. Jadhav she's a mechanical engineer, IGBC AP, GRIA CP, with 30 years of industry experience in industry. At Ishre, she has served as National Treasurer, National Chair of K12, Women in Ishre, and has been past president of Thane Chapter and ECREX 2019 Treasurer. Presently, as I told you, she is a national convener of Pharma Connect and a member of Ishre Standards Core Committee. At Ashray Mumbai Chapter, she is president-elect and has served earlier at region at large, treasurer and member of Society CEC Committee. Professionally, she is associated with D2O for the business development in Western region. Over to you, Ms. Nivedita Jadhav.
Thank you, Mir. May I ask Jitender to play the video of Refcold video, please? Thank you, Jitender and Mir. Amitabh, you mentioned about how Ishre was disconnected with the R from HVAC and R and the Ishre R for a very, very long time. And in fact, the fact remains that the cold chain and refrigeration industry is one which we are connected in our daily lives. And as I've been told that the Indian refrigeration industry is historically older than the air conditioning industry. Besides, it has made, progressively done a lot of innovation, and with the presence of large number of industrial international companies manufacturing in India, the visibility of, the requirement of refrigeration has actually become multifold. So when we started this Refcold 2021, and I'm not basically a refrigeration person. So when I was asked, why do we do Refcold? was a question asked to me by my friend. So I actually thought about it, besides what Amitabh would have told the reason. But I came up with this answer to him. At the Refcold show, which is held annually since 2018, we envisage to do few things. One is to get the user industry closer with ISHRE. Second, to get them understand the technicalities of refrigeration better. Third is gain insight from this show on the development and advancements in the product range available in the market on a single platform, which is generally doesn't happen. And next is educate on the parallel conference from the industry experts which you would never otherwise get. And doing all this, we are bound to end up trying to help the country achieve its sustainability goals. Now, to do this, we need exhibitors and partners. Now, what these companies will gain. So companies are definitely going to, get a gain of high brand value recognition, interaction with the B2B visitors. Now, where do we get the visitors from? Now, visitors are from diverse range. They are from manufacturing, logistics, warehousing, industrial end users who seek solutions and enhancement to their cold chain and refrigeration operations. Now, with the pandemic playing its cards, as Amitabh mentioned, in August we decided to go virtual, and rather than couldn't risk such a big event by going physical, and with some government regulations we had the scare, so we decided to go virtual. But trust me, planning an exhibition in 4 months is an absolute Herculean task, and especially we are all engineers, we are not exhibition organizers. And all our earlier exhibitions have been organized by a professional body. But all the same, we have tried our best, and I can say we have not left a single leaf unturned. And I'm sure the team here who's on the screen with me can vouch for it. Now, how did we get to do this? Is because we've been fortunate with having partners like Daikin, Emerson, Tecumseh, Testo to trust us and be part of the journey. I cannot miss out on 28 exhibitors with whom you all will have a good meet, and I would request all of you all to visit their booths and encourage them and interact with them. Don't miss out a single booth. So I really can't thank them enough. I will actually have to even apologize for those few exhibitors whom we could not accommodate, because we had a cutoff date of 9 December. So we had to regret at least 4 exhibitors. I'm sure if we had planned earlier, we would have got a much larger show. So a good find in the show, I'll say, is, we got connected with 2 organizations whom we never really had a connect with. One is the Indian Transport and Logistics News, and second is the CASMB, that's the Chamber of Advancements of Small and Medium Businesses. In fact, CASMB is one with who's supporting us for this particular panel discussion that you hear in a short while. And there's another track on logistics, which is supported by ITLM. So actually it was quite, there has to be something unique for every show. So for me, these 2 are the takeaways. To thank my team at Thane, Mumbai and Pune, I can't thank them enough. They've been an immense support. And of course, how can I forget the stalwarts at ISHRE? The list is too long, so I will not name a single person. And the backbone of this event are my vendors. I'll say our vendors. They have been such a strong support. To do an event in such a short span is not easy. And if you don't have efficient team in terms of your vendors, nothing can happen. So I express a special tribute to all my vendors. And on behalf of this organizing team of ISHRE Thane chapter and the whole of ISHRE, I extend my cordial welcome to all of you to this curtain raiser event today and to Refcold India Virtual 21 that happens tomorrow and day after. I hope you all have loads of takeaways from this show and look forward to the next one in 2022. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nivedita ji. And on the efforts part, let me just, say 2 lines from Sohanlal Dwivedi's poem, which says that लहरों से डरकर नौका पार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की हार नहीं होती. So I'm very sure that this team is going to sail through the entire Refcold in one of the finest manner, and I think this is going to be a benchmark for the future Refcold. So thank you so much for those efforts. And on that note, let me get in the next speaker for the evening, Mr. Anish Simaji, who is our Refrigeration Chair at ISHRE. Mr. Anish Simaji is a Senior General Manager at RINAC. He has got 25 years of experience. He has held various positions in business development in the field of refrigeration and cold storages, cold warehouses, IQF, ASRS, etc. He has been immediate past president of ISHRE Bangalore chapter, national chair of ISHRE Refrigeration Committee, as I informed you, ISHRE Technical Committee chair for refrigeration, member of ISHRE HVAC Data Handbook Committee, second edition committee member and chair of Refrigeration ACREX 2018. He has conducted various training programs for various associations. And over to you, Mr. Anish Simaji.
Thank you, Mihir. Good evening, one and all. Welcome to this fourth edition of Refcold. It's a flagship event of ISHRE in the refrigeration cold chain industry. This time too will be virtual. The last one was also a virtual. So there's a second virtual program by ISHRE. So I would like to greet good morning and good afternoon for visitors who are outside India. Okay. Now, as part of the curtain raiser program, we have the panel discussions. The subject, creation of temperature controlled ecosystems in food sector, led by our eminent speaker, moderator, Manjunath MS, who is also known as MMS in our industry. We have 6 tracks of seminars tomorrow and after tomorrow by eminent speakers, and the topics are what a current need in the industry. So I request all of you to participate in the 6 tracks of seminars tomorrow and after tomorrow, as well as in the exhibition. I would like to share a few points about the ISHRE Refrigeration Committee. The ISHRE Refrigeration Committee supports ISHRE Programs Committee in organizing webinars, seminars, and workshops on topic related to refrigeration and cold chain. The committee is working now on the 2nd edition of the Refrigeration Handbook. Celebrating the World Refrigeration Day is one of the prominent programs of ISHRE for the refrigeration cold chain industry, and the Refrigeration Committee has been actively participating in selecting the topics, speakers for this program. ISHRE will shortly start conducting 1-day, 2-day, and the longer training programs on refrigeration and cold chain. That will be supported by the Refrigeration Committee. So once again, welcome you all to this event, Refcold Virtual 2021, and hopefully we see that the event will bring in more information to you all. One point I would like to share now is I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Refcold chairwoman, Nivedita Jadhav, and her team. We had several interactions with Nivedita Jadhav, and the way she has put in a lot of time and effort is very commendable. Okay. Thank you, Meher, and we can proceed.
Thank you, Anishji. Thank you for your amazing words. And yes, absolutely. Kudos to Nivedita ji for the way she has conducted this entire event and pulled it off. So really means a lot. And this is just the starting. So I'm very sure next 2 days are going to be brilliant. Let me now get on to the next speaker, our host chapter president, Mr. Rajan Nankarji. Ravi. Yeah. Mr. Rajan Nankarji, he's a MBA and PGHR from XLRI. Professionally, he is Director of Global Skill App. Major positions held in ISHRE. He was President-elect of ISHRE Thane chapter, and this year he has been President of ISHRE Thane chapter. So over to you, Rajanji, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mahir. And I think as Nivedita was saying, I think all of us at Thane chapter have goosebumps now that the Refcold is on its way. Yes, I mean, it has been quite an eventful journey in the last 3 to 4 months. And I would say Nivedita has really done a great job in leading this entire show. So let me begin with thanking her for this wonderful kind of, I would say, leadership she has shown. I would also like to thank ISHRE headquarters team for trusting the Thane team to hold this national event on a virtual platform. I mean, there were, challenges which they knew and which was put forward to us that, there could be some challenges. And we also thought that let us take it up. And I think, yes, Mihir also was instrumental in Thane taking up this event. So I would say thank you all for trusting Thane chapter. So yes, I think I'll not say too much about this event. Much has been said, but this, I would say, refrigeration and cold chain as a sector is, I would say, very, very important for the country, as India is one of the largest producer of fruits, vegetable, milk, and one of the leading producer of meat and fish. But most of this produce is wasted in the entire value chain, right from production to transportation to storage and retail. And there, I think if we can come out with solutions which can help kind of stem this loss, definitely it can not only save money and save energy, as well as make this entire ecosystem, I would say, sustainable, but also help the country in making the entire, I would say, helping the entire country to kind of save a lot of foreign exchange also. So there are companies which have got various, I would say, innovative solutions which have reached us, and they'll be showcasing their products and solutions in this next 2 days. There are various deliberations and discussions which will happen in the conferences, which will churn out, I would say, new ideas. Something new definitely will come out of this. And the platform that we are using for the exhibitors, I'm sure they'll like it. It's one of the latest platform that we have, we are not compromised on the platform as such. So we are sure that the exhibitors would like it. So all in all, we have tried to put together a show which can not only excite the exhibitors, but also the visitors who are there, the delegates who will be coming in, and obviously the conference delegates and the moderators who will be there. So I would request all of you all to join this show for the next 2 days, take maximum mileage and support this entire event. If you are an ISHRE or even as a visitor or a delegate, so that this show reaches a new height. This is actually, I would say, need of the hour to really kind of, as Mr. Nirmal Ram said, and as Mir was saying, that R is the sleeping giant in the entire HVAC and R, but it is a sleeping giant. If we are trying to make our efforts to awaken him, it will definitely serve the country as such. I would like to thank all the partners and exhibitors. Nivedita has already called out their names. I'll not call up them again. Thank you so much for supporting this entire exhibition. And bye for now. See you tomorrow at 10 a.m. for the inauguration ceremony. Mr. Suresh Prabhu will grace the occasion. So see you all there tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rajanji, and I think great leadership, at your end, and great teamwork of Thane, Mumbai, and Pune. I think way you guys have pulled it off. Really, I mean, I hats off to all of you. Really appreciate. So, friends, now we move on to the main event of today's evening. That is a lovely, informative panel discussion, and we are going to talk about creation of a temperature-controlled ecosystem in food sector. And we have our stalwart, one of the most knowledgeable person, and one of my personal favorite, Mr. MS Manjunath. I think he is a gentleman who's going to moderate this panel, and we have fantastic speaker on the panel list. So I'm very sure we are going to gain something out of it. Let's go for amazing round of knowledge session. And let me introduce our moderator, Mr. MS Manjunath. Mr. Manjunath is a subject matter specialist and advisor on cold chain business creation and innovation. He heads his advisory business called Innovation Insight and Cold Chain Consulting. He has completed an innovation master's program at IR International USA. Currently, MMS is principal consultant to one of India's largest ready-to-eat food processing facilities. In 2012, Mr. Manjunath was awarded the National Award for Outstanding Contribution to Cold Chain. So with great applause, may I please welcome Mr. MS Manjunath onto the dais and take this panel discussion forward. Manjunath Saab, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mihir, for your kind introduction. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this curtain raiser of the 4th edition of Refcold 2021. Today's panel discussion features some of the most respected names in the field of food processing and cold chain. The topic is creation of a temperature-controlled ecosystem for the processed food industry. So, as Rajan Nankarji said, India is one of the largest producers of food in the world. Actually, we are either number 1 or number 2 or number 3 in the production of milk, fruits and vegetables, grains, cereals, pulses, poultry and meat, seafood. So practically the entire gamut of basic food, we are abundant in production of these foods. But the percentage of this food going into processing is very small compared to other countries. So I think that that's a place where there is a lot of potential for India to move forward. Within the food processing sector, there are about 8 to 10 subsectors like, bread and bakery, fruits and vegetables, and then we have dairy and seafood, poultry and meat, ready to eat, ready to cook, and quick service restaurants, beverages. So all these constitute the subsectors of food processing. There is a ministry that was created several years back to initiate and motivate and enhance food processing in our country. That's the Ministry of Food Processing. But just to give you a little understanding about what is the kind of growth that is happening, the compounded annual growth rate for food processing for the past 5 years has been about 7.5%. Leaving aside 2020 and 21, we reckon figures up to 2019 BC. BC is before COVID, BC. So in the period between 2014 and 2019, value-wise, the CAGR growth, compounded annual growth rate of processed food has been about 11.6% as compared to non-food manufacturing industry, which grew at about 8.3%. So the drivers to good food processing from the government side have been increased incentivization, new schemes like the Prime Minister's Kisan Sampada Yojana, Atmanirbhar Abhiyan. Then we have a very interesting scheme that came out this year, which is the production linked incentive in food processing. And the PLI schemes are there from all the other sectors of industry also, but food processing has a very big PLI. Then there is FDI equity that's coming, foreign direct investment coming. These are the big drivers to production, apart from abundant availability of raw material. On the consumption side, the drivers are rising disposable income, a generation that is very aspirational and experimental. That's a generation that tries new foods, floating population, convenience foods, on-the-go snacking. These are big drivers to consumption. So today, we have 3 thought leaders from the food processing and cold chain segment who will share their thoughts on the creation of a temperature-controlled logistics and temperature-controlled ecosystem. See, the concept of a cold chain and temperature-controlled logistics is not new to India. 35 years back, when I had more black hair on my head, I did an ice cream cold chain, an entire ice cream cold chain based on PCM, phase change materials. We tried liquid nitrogen as a part of our innovation to freeze ice creams using liquid nitrogen. So all this has been done. But in the last 20 years, there has been tremendous change in terms of technology and in terms of absorption of the mobile as well as the static temperature controlled logistics. There has been a lot of change. So today, I'm trying to take this discussion to a slightly higher level by saying that we take a slightly different approach to cold chain and temperature controlled logistics, an approach that is designed or a design that is done on the basis of CTQs. CTQs. Many of you probably are used to this particular abbreviation. It is critical to quality parameters. not all parameters are really critical to, but there are a few critical to quality parameters, and we need to map those, and they will be pretty different for different kinds of temperature control applications. So that is what I'm flagging off in this particular Refcold, and the experts whom we have today on our panel, they're going to speak about this. So the idea is to fulfill a higher level of quality standards using a CTQ driven cold chain, and at the same time trying to economize the cold chain costs. So with this, I would like to bring in our first speaker from the food processing industry, Mr. Rupinder Singh. Can we have Mr. Rupinder Singh's CV, please? Yeah, Mr. Rupinder Singh is the Managing Director of Vista Processed Foods India since the last 20 years. He has over 35 years of experience, a mechanical engineer and an MBA. His work profile has included very interesting stints: Nestle India, PepsiCo, Frito-Lay's over the last 16 years, all global multinational food processing companies. He is the ex-chairman of the Protein Foods and Nutrition Development Association of India. He was awarded the J.S. Pruthi Award by the Government of India, Ministry of Food, in 2012 for the work that he had done on fruits and vegetable industry. In February 2020, he was awarded the most influential agriculture and food industry professional, a very tall leader in the food processing industry. Mr. Rupinder Singh, a warm welcome to you.
Yeah, good evening, everybody.
So you represent an extremely large, but not a highly regulated industry, not highly regulated as a pharma industry.
Yeah.
So tell us, what is critical to quality in a temperature controlled food ecosystem that probably, spans from raw material to manufacturing to storage, transportation, and then on to distribution, right up to the point of consumption?
Yeah, Manjunath, I think so. You have talked critical control point, the temperature control in the supply chain for, I will discuss on the meat products, right? From the time the product is processed, right? From that time till the product reaches to the customer, the temperature control plays a very important role in the texture of the product, and also in the cold chain. It's very important for us to understand that the cost involved is also right. In the meat, the moisture plays a very important role. If the temperature abuse is there, we don't get the moisture and the texture of the product till the customer. So we have developed this supply chain for meat from last 25 years for our customers, which are all international customers, either McDonald's or Burger King or Domino's, or you could say even the retail chains or the brands which we have supported in India for the growth in this category, either it's chilled or frozen, is Yummies or ITC MasterChef. So it also improves the efficiencies of the whole supply chain by having a reduction in cost if the cold chains are maintained well during this whole supply chain.
Great. Just a quick question. You said something about the texture and moisture content. So have you been able to enhance quality, or have you been able to reduce costs on this by having tighter controls?
Yes. So yes, with this tighter controls, we have been able to reduce the cost, and also we have benchmarked our product quality with international, and we meet all the parameters which are required for if you pick a product in India or in any other part of the world. Because of the cold chain which we maintain for our product from the time we pick it from the slaughterhouse till to the consumer end.
Great. Now I would like to bring in our next speaker, Mr. Hemant Knight. Hemant Knight is a VP for supply chain. Can we have Hemant Knight's? Yes, he's an executive coach and a supply chain specialist. Hemant's designation is Vice President Strategy and Supply Chain for Kamath Our Times Ice Cream. My favorite. I started my career in the ice cream industry, so That's really great. He has passed out of IIT Bombay, an MBA from Washington University, and his experience as a consultant at Hardcastle Restaurants. He has worked with Harvey Global Solutions and Hindustan Unilever Limited. Welcome, Hemant. And my question to you is also more or less the same. What's the kind of ecosystem you envisage in creating a critical to quality parameter based cold chain in the processed food business? And can you name one or two critical to quality points?
Hi, Manjunath. To address, as Bhubi said, he is the one who is talking about meat or protein, and we are the one who are sweet people talking about ice creams. So when we talk about ice cream, the critical to quality parameter, and when we just approach the consumer, the voice of consumer at two levels, that is consumer is the proper taste, health and health safe product. This is the thing. And basically ice cream is like when it's molten, it is just a flavored milk. So what is critical to quality parameter for me is, one, it has to be health safe. Second thing, it has to really cater to that particular expectation of my consumer, which is like he has to get a bite of fresh fruit in my ice cream. So the overall experience has to be really controlled through a controlled environment of cold chain. And when it comes to that particular end, one is my time, because shelf life is just 15 days, and the temperature throughout that particular phase of shelf life, which I am controlling. So whether it's cold storage at my end, whether it's a refrigeration van through the transit, or when we are shipping it out, the time which it takes from my end to the parlor. From parlor again, we are delivering it to our consumer. So if I talk about the last mile delivery, even that is considered. And in the whole thing, critical to quality parameter is going to be the temperature. And thus I think the cold chain is the only solution which we have to manage this particular expectation. Now, when we talk about this CTQ parameters, and to support that, if we talk about the critical to process, then processes which we are engaging through our ops channel for the last mile, or the processes that we engage for farm to our place, that is my factory, or otherwise from my place to the end selling point, which is my parlor, that particular part. So my consumer is changing. When it comes here, I am a consumer, so my voice is like it has to be delivered either at the +4 temperature, or the IQF fruits, they come in minus temperature. And the tenderness of that fruit while processing, that will be the critical to quality parameter for me. And maybe my seller or otherwise the supplier has to kind of create his processes to support that. Similarly, when I am delivering my ice cream, it has to be at -18, so that there should not be any kind of disintegration of the emulsion. By the way, we are not using any emulsifier or stabilizer in our product. So you can understand that if I have to really honor the voice of consumer, I have to rely only on the support of the cold chain and the temperature which I am governing and controlling through the cold chain. So yeah, if critical to quality parameter has to be considered, then it's time and temperature. These are the two things which definitely will help me to maintain the quality of product in its life cycle.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Yeah. You touched upon the delivery part of it, the journey part of it. Interestingly, I'll just give one or two cents of mine. When I was in the ice cream industry, we had a very peculiar issue that, ice cream is tasting a little sandy taste. Why is ice cream tasting sandy? Now, it's like this, that this is just for the general people on the audience, not for experts like you, but why it happens is, when we freeze ice cream, there is a time temperature curve through which it freezes. So actually the water that forms ice crystals, the nucleus of that ice crystal has to be so microscopic that it will not be detected by the tongue. And once it's not detected by the tongue, you get a smooth, silky taste. If it is detected by the tongue, then you start getting a sandy taste. So that was a CTQ. the time temperature curve was a CTQ. So now I would like to just roll this time temperature curve to Bhupinderji. You have seen so much in the industry in various fruits, vegetables, poultry, meat. So Bhupinderji, can you tell us something about time temperature curves, time temperature tolerances, and is there something you would like to say about that?
Manjunath, your point is very, very valid on time temperature. Each product category has a different time temperature charts, right? For the meat category, since it has a very short shelf life, right? And also food safety plays a very critical role. So if it doesn't meet the time temperature, the product gets rejected, right? So we have for every product category, either we using chicken for our supply chain, or we are using iceberg lettuce. Each time temperature for every product category is different. We mostly, our inputs are through the chilled chain, which has very shorter shelf life because we further process the product. At even the process halls, the temperatures are maintained from the time the product starts from a slaughterhouse to through the whole parameters are maintained, because if the temperature of chicken goes up more than 4, it's a rejection level for us, and we will not be able to use that meat for our production. Even the process areas, we monitor data loggers throughout the supply chain, and also in the process hall, there is a temperature maintained till the product is further frozen for our customers. We don't add preservatives, so the food safety is very critical, and also the shelf life of the product. This is how freezing and chilling helps us to increase the shelf life and make the food as safe product for customer.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very well said, sir. I mean, these are real critical points. Since you had experience on fruits and vegetables, I just wanted to ask you a question. Yeah. Does relative humidity matter?
Yeah.
Is it a critical to quality parameter?
Yes. So I can give you a very example in India, what we have built for the QSR industry. Very tough crop, which is iceberg lettuce, right? We grow it farm, we vacuum cool it to chill temperature at farm levels, right? And the whole supply chain and the humidity plays a very important role for the ice to have the crispiness and the shelf life of the product, right? So that is how we are able to match the standards for our customers. The expectation is high. We are a tropical country, so we have more pressure on maintaining this cold chain supply chain, because the temperature climate changes. We have to maintain that throughout this supply chain.
Absolutely, absolutely. Lettuce iceberg is a really difficult piece, and then it does demand a very high relative humidity to maintain that freshness and that crispiness. Several other vegetables are like that, and then we have seen that that's a CTQ, especially when we are handling raw vegetables and fruits. Absolutely. Now I would like to bring in our third panelist, an expert on cold chain. Well, we are going to welcome Mr. Anand Narayanswamy. Can we have Anand's CV, please? Anand is a graduate mechanical engineer from NIT Surat, class of 98, specialized in refrigeration and air conditioning. Anand has worked in India as well as overseas. He has worked with brands like Renac, Pidilite. For some time, we worked together at Thermo King, and we had a great experience. He has worked for Bitzer in India and overseas from 1999 to 2012. He then started his own technical consultancy firm called Cold Capital. So many of you who saw the curtain raiser picture, when he said partner Cold Capital, probably you might have put partner and capital together and said he must be some venture capitalist or something. He's not a venture capitalist. He is a thorough refrigeration person. He has been responsible for providing energy efficient solutions to the cold chain industry. An urge to improve revenues and visibility has led to his second venture, which is Anvira Solutions in the year 2013. So he runs two companies, Cold Capital and Anvira Solutions. So Anand, for you, it's a little different because you come from the cold chain industry. I have known you for over 2 decades, and in your service to the cold chain industry, designing and building a temperature-controlled ecosystem is literally in our hands, my hands, your hands, me as a consultant, as a advisor, as a designer, and you as an integrator and installer of refrigeration solutions. What are your thoughts on building a CTQ-based cold chain?
Yeah, hi. First of all, good evening, everyone. Thanks to Ishre and Refcold for inviting me to be a part of this panel. I think MMS, you have put a very valid question in front of this forum, trying to seek out people's opinion on what they think is CTQ or what is important as far as CTQ is concerned. Now, as we heard Bhupinder and Hemant ji from a user perspective, what is CTQ mean? Now, I would like to share something from a solution architect perspective, what probably CTQ means to me. For example, any customer who comes to me, I would like to understand what is his objective for putting up the infrastructure that he is planning to.
Absolutely.
What are the features, what are the attributes, what are the benefits that he is likely to accrue from the proposed infrastructure is what probably, drives me to asking him more questions to make a solution which probably makes sense, not only in terms of cost, but also in terms of energy optimization, utilization, reliability, etc. When I started my career about 2 decades back, when we used to go for and meet customers for a cold room requirement, people used to say thanda hona chahiye. Those were the days 2 decades back. And I'm very happy to hear Bhupi Saab's thought that we are vacuum cooling iceberg lettuce. So we have come a long way. And I think with the increase in food processing as a percentage of the refrigeration industry, I would say this. I think we are going towards accepting and acknowledging new technologies which help reduce the food wastage per se. Now, coming back to your question on CTQ, I would consider 2-3 very important things. As a cold chain solution architect, most of us focus only on temperature. Say Hemantji wants a cold room at -20. We simply design a system which maintains -20 for him. But according to me, I would go a little more deeper into his requirement, understand how he is going to store, what are his throughput volumes, how is he going to manage the product flow, how many times he is going to open the doors day in and day out, what are his criticality in terms of temperature fluctuations. For example, he demands -20. Is -18 acceptable to him? Not acceptable to him. Does he want redundancy? How expensive is his product? For example, if the cold room system breaks down, what is the possibility of the consequential damage? If that value is very high, then probably I would give a redundant system.
So Anand, what you're trying to say is that you are going to bring the entire, you will have a list of some 15-20 questions or 15-20 parameters. So that becomes the kind of the user requirement specifications. So are all the user requirement specifications CTQs, or only a few of them are CTQs?
Yeah, I think, see, formulation of URS is probably the most important thing before even giving an offer to the customer or proposal to a customer. I would say there are a few very critical aspects, temperature, if it is a positive temperature, say FNV storage, we talk about relative humidity, then we talk about air volume, we talk about the air velocity, we talk about the minimum and maximum temperature bands. So those are a few very important parameters. Other than that, I would say things like what is the door, what is the type of door, what is the location of the outdoor unit, what kind of power is available. Those may not be CTQ, I would say.
Right. So that's right. So let me circle this back to Hemant. Hemant, especially you're handling something like an ice cream. Do you really bring out certain things on which you will not have any compromise? What are those 2 or 3 things on which you will not have a compromise?
The first thing is raw material inputs. So raw material inputs also, when it travels, it has to be maintained at a particular temperature. So when I'm getting milk, definitely +4 and above is no for that milk.
Okay.
And we are not using emulsifier stabilizer. So consistently, when we attain a temperature of -5 or 6 and we go below that temperature, that should not go for the reversal, because as soon as it goes for the reversal, as you were rightly saying, the emulsion starts breaking. So either you get a crystallization, ice crystals, or otherwise the sandy powdery test. So that is something which is not acceptable. And if it's not acceptable, then something which should not be acceptable at any given moment in time or point in time is your temperature fluctuations. So temperature has to be managed at all the time. And yes,
okay.
and it has to be really within the band. Yeah.
What about that time temperature tolerance in your ice cream industry? Do you have some time temperature curves that are critical to quality? Do you follow something like that?
Yeah, we manage and we measure the temperature and the time gradient for which it gets exposed to higher or maybe a lower band of temperature. So if temperature goes lower, we have not seen any kind of ill effect on the product. But if it goes on the plus side, right, then definitely we have that. Yeah, we have the problem. So what we have done is we have measured that particular physical as well as the microbial loads. So microbial load is quite straight phenomena, whereas the physical load, that physical fluctuation in terms of temperature and what kind of softness the ice cream can come to at that particular life.
Right.
In that
So generally,
that defines the whole thing.
Absolutely. So for you, temperature is the mantra. Temperature.
Yeah, temperature is the mantra, and at that particular temperature, if it's not within, if it's within the acceptable, and that also on the lower side, then how much time we can accept that particular lower band of temperature?
Right. So Rupinder, I'm coming to you to ask you one question on which probably you are one of the best persons to equip to answer this. Does a CTQ driven, a critical to quality driven cold chain, can it reduce distribution losses and eventually costs?
Yeah, I think so. You're well said. We have seen this in iceberg lettuce, right? We used to get moisture losses. We used to get yield losses, which has actually improved our yields and also reduced our cost from the farm till our processing units, and from processing units till the delivery to our customer. We have seen a huge efficiency improvement, and presently with the vacuum cooling and with the cold chill chain and with the processing temperatures, we are able to achieve the standards which are international, right? So you can benchmark us with any other country on these parameters, either in Middle East or in US. So our customer benchmarks us with all the best practices which are there worldwide. And so that gives you confidence that how a cost reduction in a tropical country where the temperature fluctuation is possible by a very good solid supply chain and also solid chilled and frozen chains in the country.
I have one small story to tell. Some time back, about 3.5 years back, I was consulting for a company, and then we did an experiment of taking capsicum from Jaipur to Azadpur Mandi.
Yeah.
That distance, we took 2 trucks, one without refrigeration and without humidification.
Yes.
Another with refrigeration at just 24 degrees Celsius. It is not refrigeration, it is just about air conditioning.
Temperature.
But with 95% humidity. 95% humidity with some cell deck pads. Believe me, the loss of weight of capsicum from Jaipur to Azadpur Mandi in Delhi, 10% in the non-refrigerated, non-humidity controlled truck, and just 1.2% in the other.
Yeah.
So close to about 9% of weight. And if you're transporting about, I don't know, about 5 tons, so that's a huge kind of quantity, which actually is loaded onto the consumer eventually.
Yes.
Eventually loaded onto the consumer. So these become critical to quality, and probably from now on and further, we can build cold chains that are CTQ driven, and I'm sure they will be differentiated. There could be different cold chain parameters for fruit and vegetables, and different for meat and poultry. Seafood is a very critical part where we still don't have much cold chains to travel into the country. Hardly any seafood is coming inside the country. Very little of it is coming inside the country. So these are some of the pointers. I'm circling back to Anand. Anand, I just wanted to, as an innovation consultant myself, and I advising one of the largest ready-to-eat facilities in India. Currently, I'm doing a project as a principal consultant. At one single place, we have more than 750 tons of refrigeration, mostly on the frozen side, one single location. So I'm putting in CTQs in the URS of the client. I'm taking a different route to consulting. But as an installer and as an integrator or as a solution architect, I would like to ask you, and I'd like to put you in a spot by asking you this question, because do clients specify CTQs, critical to quality parameters? Has any client come to you saying, this is my criteria, no compromise on this?
To be very upfront, 9 out of 10 customers, no. I mean, to be very blunt.
K-N-O-W or N-O?
It's a big no.
No, okay.
Okay. See, the only industry where I've seen some kind of a process-driven, approach in terms of URS and then other documentations is the pharmaceutical industry, because they are driven by their end users towards that. But as we increase our exports, or we start catering to organizations which demand this, I think the pressure probably is kind of on the producers to implement that, and the entire chain actually improves. Now on the time temperature issue, just a simple point. We have a lot of blast freezing, blast chilling, pre-cooling, all those rapid temperature reduction kind of technologies. Now these are extremely time temperature kind of sensitive. I mean, more important than what a holding or a traditional cold room may be. I mean, I'll give you a typical example of an airline catering unit. Where depending on the airline schedule, they would kind of do cooking of the food in batches, and they kind of blast chill it once the food is too hot, and it has to be chilled
within a particular time.
Yeah, within 90 to 120
within 90 to 100 minutes.
Yeah, it has to be brought down below 8. That is when they can control over the bacterial count. So some of the processes are extremely critical in terms of time and temperature. Others may not be as much.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the reason why I said CTQ versus URS. URS is the entire laundry list, and CTQ is very critical between those. So yes, in my experience also, I have seen many customers not specifying, and then further later on when the project starts, they try and understand, oh, this should have been a little different, this should have been faster, this should have been slower. So it has implications on power, it has implications on even the layouts. Even a simple door can be critical to quality. A door that you design for your movement can be a critical to quality of your product. I have seen pastries being taken from a door with strip curtains, and those pastries, the icing just gets off on those. So many times we have seen this kind of a situation. So I think this has been a good discussion. And my question to all the three panelists is, do you feel that we should try and introduce this concept of critical to quality amongst the clients? Will it bring in some advantage, or will it bring in a higher cost?
I think so. It will bring in more cost efficiencies into the system, and also it will reduce the wastage, right? That will play a very important role. And also there are different parameters which can be monitored, and you can backtrack the database how your product is getting affected by this.
Yeah. So I think this has been a good discussion. Any other points you would like to tell us? We have another 3 minutes time. So is there something that you would like to add on to this discussion which will be beneficial to the audience?
Yeah, I'll just add to what Bhupinder said. When you say, you asked whether it will have any implication, upward implication on the cost. Definitely not. See, it's important to understand that cost does not mean only the initial cost.
Yeah.
It means an initial capex plus,
I would
say, life cycle cost.
Life cycle.
Considering a 7 to 10 years reasonably good life cycle of a product.
Absolutely.
So when you look at that, I mean, it's a no-brainer that CTQ brings a lot of value add to this.
Great. Yes, Hemant. Yeah, please go ahead. You're muted. You're muted, Hemant. You're on mute. Right.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Manjunath. And just want to draw from what Anand was saying in his last comment, not this one, prior to that. When actually customer gives them the brief about the need, I think CTQ and all these kind of things will create a sort of common terminology to communicate, because right now maybe people are really not well aware of putting the clear understanding of their needs and putting it forward. Maybe those can be a good performance indices for the service provider or for the internal staff also. So CTQ can be a good terminology or a good platform which we can use as a common platform for communicating our needs and expectations. And yeah, that should be the way forward.
Great. Wonderful. And another thing that we were talking about this, pharmaceutical sites. In my experience, I've done several pharmaceutical projects where the critical aspects were documentation, like, design qualification, performance qualification, operational qualification. So do you feel these kind of documentation can be brought in for at least professional cold chains into our food industry? Can it improve, or can it give more clarity? Rupinder ji, let me ask you this question. A very quick round.
Yes.
We have just 2 minutes.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. This will bring in a lot of, I agree to your point on that.
So yeah, I think Anand, what's your opinion on bringing in, because this is it's a double-edged sword.
See, we do a few pharma projects, and this is one of the most important part of any pharma project, this documentation. And unless and until we clear all this, the end user cannot use the cold room. Yeah. So it helps remove a lot of gray areas, to be very honest. Which sometimes we realize at a very late stage, and it is practically impossible to unwind whatever we have done. So it helps in early realization, I would say, and it's a proactive way of looking at things more than that.
So I think probably the people who are on this particular forum, we have 104 delegates who are sitting there and watching us talk. Please try and see if you can use these two parts. One is critical to quality parameters wherever you want, as a client, as an end user, as a consultant, as a designer. Please try and do that. And second is try to see if this documentation part helps. Hemant, would you want to say something about the design qualification or the the performance qualification document? Should we draw out such a document? Will it help?
Yeah, it's always better to kind of document the thing, because once you document it, it's like you are committed to the cause. So the expectation is documented. And when you are delivering from the delivery side also, when you are aware that what are the needs, and when you are responding to those needs, actually you can come up with any lacuna which has been left in the problem statement. Perfect. And if it is there, you can correct it then and there, rather than starting the journey and then going for the course correction.
Perfect.
So yeah, it's must. Yeah.
Great. I think, Mihir, we are more or less through with our discussions. I don't have any other points to discuss at this point in time. What I wanted to ask was, are there any questions? I am seeing.
Yes, there are a couple of questions. We have one question is, do you envisage future regulations in cold chain network as there is in food processing? This question is from Mr. Vikram Murthy, our presidential member.
Yeah, yeah. Probably, I think both Hemant and Bhupinderji. Bhupinderji, can you give your thoughts on that?
Yes, there's already in the food processing, we have temperature parameters defined in the food laws, as frozen product is -18 degrees, right? And chilled products are at -2, right? So slowly, yes, only thing is more education the customer has to have. When they go and pick up their products, it's more educating our customers about the product. I think so government is putting a lot of focus and trying to do a lot of trainings on frozen and chilled products, how the customer should handle, how should they take it. I think so this is coming up.
Great. Hemant, any thoughts from your side?
Yes, Manjunath. So as Rupinder Singh ji rightly said, from food side under FSSAI norms and all the regulatory framework is there for the beneficiary of this cold system, and the beneficiary is nothing else but our food product. So framework is already there. At the same time, for refrigeration system or air conditioning, what kind of gas has to be used, and all those are environmental norms which are also there in the books. So regulatory framework is already there. Now it has to evolve to the next stage, and which definitely will happen as we are following the global soup.
Absolutely. Even this, since Vikram has asked this question, I would like to say that if we start taking a little lower level from pharma into the food, or maybe at the same level, these DQ, IQ, PQ, these are all things that are standard norms. I mean, under a US FDA audit or something like that, these are all very standard norms. So we can probably bring those here and try to build an ecosystem of regulation within this. Could be a little difficult initially, but over a period of time, everybody would follow those kind of norms. So that I think Arvind Jaha from the audience had asked a question. It's not just enough if you do documentation. You need trained personnel. It's a very, very valid point. You need trained personnel. Not just that. Recently, I was assisting the Ministry of Food Processing in a consultation for doing a survey across India for skill development, and all these subsectors which I mentioned to you, bread and bakery, fruits and vegetables, dairy, seafood, poultry, all were discussed with their individual needs for skill development. So that program is in the pipeline, and probably we may get the report sometime later. If I get it, I'll share it with all of you if it is made public. But then, yes, the government is seized of the matter. The ministry is seized of the matter, and they are looking into doing a skill development program for manpower that comes into the industry, into the food processing industry.
Manjunath sir, yeah, Mr. Chandra would like to ask a question.
Yeah. Chandra, please go ahead.
Chandra sir, please go ahead. Unmute yourself and ask the question.
Good evening. And there was a good discussion on the PQ. Definitely, I got to know a new term.
Chandra, you're not audible. You're not audible, Chandra.
Am I audible now?
Yeah. Better.
Yeah.
Better.
Okay. So I was saying good evening, and then my question on the CTQ, which is a new terminology which I heard today. It is a very nice terminology. But my question on that is that while I agree with CTQ as a very important thing, and from the panel discussions, I could get to know that a lot of importance needs to be attached to that. While I feel that large manufacturing or processing industries definitely adhering to the CTQ methods in terms of food wastage and also the quality, health quality, you look at it. How is it having acceptance in medium manufacturers or medium processing people or the storage people, especially when you see, every nook and corner of even small towns, there is a lot of warehouses and cold chains and the processing industries which are located. So what kind of acceptance is coming in the general market?
Yeah, Chandra, please go ahead. Govindaji, please go ahead.
I think so. A very valid question for small scale. I think so. We have seen that the industry name has been bad because people have not been keeping the product in a right temperature, and customer gets pissed off when he gets an abused product, right? So yes, because customer he just picks up the product, he doesn't know how much time it has been thawed and freezed, right? He only comes to know when he takes the product home and cook and make a product and he feels the product is not good, right? So the cold chain affects that. And that is the reason of a chilled and frozen chain has a bad image in front of customers, right? Because the small scale, they do all the shortcuts, right? And then that image has to be changed. I think so there is where the controls has to be put in and educated. It would be, if they do the right way, it will save them more cost and their business will go better.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had one more question. Yeah. Chandra, anything else?
No, nothing.
We had one question from another kitchen consultant, Swaran Kamal. Swaran was asking about how to handle biodegradable waste. That means, kitchen waste, waste that comes out of processing of vegetables, fruits, and meats, etc. So Swaran, my answer to that would be that these are generally held in cold rooms for a certain period of time until they are actually disposed of. So probably 0 to 4 degrees is a kind of temperature that reduces the metabolic activity of all these, and then it reduces the decay and the rot that can set in if it is not temperature controlled. So it has to be somewhere in the region of about 0 to 4 degrees. Anand, any points on that, Anand?
Yeah, in fact, it is a mandatory requirement for most of the star hotels to have something called as a wet garbage storage.
Garbage rooms.
Yeah. It's a wet garbage storage, so it has to be held within a particular temperature, ideally less than 8. And the local municipality comes and picks it up for them. If they don't, they are liable to be penalized actually.
Yeah, but I guess this waste needs to be bagged and then put into the cold rooms.
Yeah, because
it needs to be bagged.
Otherwise, it stinks.
Yes.
So it is mandatory actually.
So I think, Soren, that answers your question on biodegradable waste. We had one question. I think it's Dr. Sarvanan. And his question is, will it help customers if cold chain logistics are under energy labeling program? Energy labeling program. Yeah, something like star rating that we give for air conditioners, etc. The cold chain is a custom built product, especially all these equipment are custom built. So until we have kind of, probably for catalog products, that may be possible. That's my feeling. I'm not an authority on that, but for catalog products, we probably can try to have some energy labeling. But for custom built products, it's a little difficult to. Of course, there are calorimeter laboratories where you can actually check what is the enthalpy and heat gain or heat loss. How does that operate? The thermal efficiencies. That is possible, but that's a very long winding kind of thing. So probably catalog products is the first step to get into energy labeling, and then maybe the bigger ones, some other way of labeling it. That's my thought. Any thoughts from Hemant or Rupinderji or Anand on this?
Yeah,
so well,
they are customer driven. Every customer's is that every product category requires different, right? So you were right on that. Yeah.
So thank you so much, gentlemen. And we really had a lot of information, a lot of wisdom and scholarship from all three of you. We have taken 41 minutes and 35 seconds. I was given 45 minutes to speak. We still can go for one question. If not, I'm handing over to Mihir. Thank you, Mihir.
In fact, MMS, just on the BEE energy labeling side, it would help if such an initiative is taken. The reason being, you have such a wide array of products, similar products manufactured by different manufacturers, and it is very difficult for the customer actually to kind of understand which one is better. Like what you have in air conditioning, if you have a star rating, it becomes much simpler for a customer to differentiate. I mean, understand the premiumness of a product more than anything. So I think it'd be a good idea to do that. Only thing is, as you said, it is difficult for a customized product, but for a standard, upon a 0.5 TR, 1 TR, 2 TR, maybe up to 5 TR.
Right, that's why I
standard
said
conditions.
Yeah. Under standard NTP.
Yeah.
Under NTP kind of conditions.
Can be done.
Probably can be done. Right. Great. Thank you so much, Anand. Mihir, I think we are through and
there is still one last question if you'd like to take since you have time. From this question is from Mr. Subramaniam Rajgopalan. From energy efficiency point of view, can there be several alternatives for different groups of food?
Pardon? I didn't get it.
I repeat again. From energy efficiency point of view, can there be several alternatives for different groups of food?
Several alternatives for different points. See, energy is a function of the amount of heat that you want to take out from that particular food. So obviously, if there is a food at 45 degrees and you want to bring it down to 18 degrees or 12 degrees or 10 degrees or 0 degrees, there is a certain amount of energy that is required. So the efficiency part is of that particular machine. The quality of heat transfer defines that energy, the quality of materials that they are using, the efficiency, the COP of that particular machine, the coefficient of performance of that machine. These things make the difference in the different energy alternatives. So if I have understood that question right, or is there any other interpretation? Anand, you can give it a try.
Yeah, I mean, there are too many moving parts, to be very honest. In the sense, energy efficiency, one parameter can be, your EEP or ER or COP. Second can be in terms of how quickly the temperature can be brought down, etc. I don't know. I mean, it depends. As you said, it's a direct function of capacity and a better use of a better refrigerant, probably. For example, for a positive temperature in a hot environment like a desert environment, if you use a water cooled system with a R134A, probably you get the best efficiency. So it's a kind of there are too many moving parts, as I said. No standard answer, I would say, rather.
Right. So Mihir, that's it from us. Mihir.
Thank you, Manjunath Saab. I think what amazing informative panel this was. Thank you, Rupinder Saab, Hemant ji, Anand ji, and our own MMS. I think simply this was one of the finest panel discussion, and I think you guys have actually lifted the curtain on Refcold in the true spirit. And I think really trying to organize an unorganized sector. I think this is something amazing. And as someone has commented in the question answer session that, should there be energy labeling, ISHRE should be, leading it. I'm very sure with the kind of experts what we have and the kind of volunteers what we have, I'm very sure we will take it forward. So thank you, gentlemen, for this lovely discussion. I'm very sure everyone has gained out of it. 1 second, Nivedita ji has raised her hand. She has a comment to make. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I actually want to thank CASMB, the president, Mr. Nilesh Lele, to have introduced us to Hemant Knight and Rupinder Singh. And I am sure, there is a long way for us to work together and lots of things to do together, actually. So thanks to Nilesh Lele, the president. And once again, thank you to all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
And for the last agenda of the evening, may I please request our national president-elect, Mr. Chandrasekhar N. Chandrasekhar, to kindly come on the dais and deliver our vote of thanks to this amazing ceremony and conclude it. Mr. N. Chandrasekhar, he's a national president-elect of ISHRE. He is MTech in Mechanical Engineering from IIT Kanpur, Certified Energy Auditor from BE. Professionally, he's a consultant and certified energy auditor at Genex Consultant in the city of Hyderabad. He has held various positions such as National Secretary, Vice President, member of ISHRE Technical Committee, and now he's a National President-elect. Over to you, Chandra sir, and looking forward to your vote of thanks.
Thank you, Mihir. Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So really, I would say a curtain raiser is a vision raiser for us. So today's discussion, the panel discussion which we had, has been a vision raiser for us, and it is really enlarged our vision in terms of the cold chain and the processing industry. I am really grateful to have had Rupinder Singh, MD of Processed Food. Thank you very much, sir, for you to explain about CTQ and how moisture control is very important in meat processing, meat storage, and the time temperature tolerances you talked about, and also reducing distribution losses. So it's really a fantastic session of explanations which we had on this. Similarly, I thank Mr. Hemant Knight, who is the Vice President of Strategy and Supply Chain for Kamath Overtimes. And something which is very dear to everybody regarding ice cream and how it has to be health safe and how controlled environment is important for that. And he also talked about no temperature fluctuations or very limited range within which everything needs to be done so that the product is health safe. Thank you very much, sir, for explaining that to us. I thank Mr. Anand Narayan Swamy, founder of Cold Capital, also for another company which I did not know. Sorry for that. And, it's very nice to know you, sir. And thank you for your vision on accepting and acknowledging new technologies. And I also came to know one more thing. I did not envisage as an important thing in cold storage or in those technologies, that is the air volume and the air velocity. Normally, I see in the cold storages, the cold diffusers kept open and then the air blowing out. So, explaining about that and bringing us the importance of that. And with all you people, technical specialists being there, thanks Manjunath for bringing everybody on a common platform and getting us to believe and understand that cold chain is driven by CTQ is the way forward, and that's a real wonderful thing for us.
Thank you.
All of this, I would say that Thane chapter requires a loud applause and a thank you from all of us for taking the forefront in taking forward the curtain raiser and for 2 more days of Refcold exhibition tomorrow. Thank you, Thane team, led by Nivedita, Rajan. Of course, Mihir has always been the backbone of that. Anish for being a big support to them. And no doubt, I have to thank the Israel president for confiding in us and making us believe that this team of Thane will deliver. And really, I feel many a time that a thing well begun is half done. This is a saying, but I believe today a thing well begun is more than half done. I think this is a wonderful start, and I'm sure I have to thank all the delegates who have taken the time off and being present on this. More than 120 people were present at a time. So it's a nice thing to see that. And I invite all of you to join us tomorrow morning at the inaugural session and also further to the exhibition of 2 days. And let's have a wonderful knowledge sharing, understanding the importance of that. It is said that R is a sleeping giant in history, no more a sleeping giant in history. It is important for us. We used to conduct an Acrax exhibition, which is comprising of everything. Today, we are conducting Refcold, which is so important in everybody's life. Thank you all for being present. Yeah, Manjunath.
Yeah, Chandra, I had just one point. You mentioned a very interesting point, a CTQ, which is the air velocity. Actually, the air velocity for storing flowers is entirely different from the air velocity for storing ice creams. That's a big CTQ, actually.
Similarly, seed storage. Seed storage, yeah.
Absolutely, for seed storage.
I remember having done quite a few.
Very true, very true. Very true.
So, these are all,
yeah.
I mean, these are very important for every one of us. Thanks for all the presence of all the team. Mihir, I would leave it back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chandra.
Everybody present here.
Thank you, Chandra Saab. As we said that it is no longer, R is no longer going to be a sleeping giant. It is going to be a roaring giant, and let's roar tomorrow at 10 a.m. I would request each and every delegate who is present here and all those who are not present, ensure that you reach out to them, give them a shout that they need to be there tomorrow for ISHRE, for refrigeration industry, and for our country, India. Let's be there tomorrow at 10 a.m. and start 2 great days of business, knowledge, and a super successful Refcold. Thank you very much. Signing off on behalf of ISHRE, Mihir Sanghvi. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sure.